Yo, 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 yo. It's our lifestyle podcast, also known as short as OLP. Thanks for coming back and rocking with us. Episode 365. What you're going to notice on this episode is there's no co-host. Biggity Mike the Mayor is out gallivanting. This guy cannot be stopped. I had him run down several episodes ago where he was going to be from June through almost August. The guy is on a rampage all across the world, literally hitting different spots. And this guy is hard to get a hold of, especially in the summer. Mail is down, he says, but the home watches are on the rise. So I do not know what's going on. It's hard to get a hold of him. But this episode 365, thank you so much for coming back and rocking with us. I cannot thank you enough. It's crazy to think that we're getting ready to pass the start-finish line for our 9th going into our 10th year. Just insane to me, and I thank so many of you for coming back. Even if you can't listen to every episode, I really appreciate wholeheartedly you coming back and watching some of the content on YouTube, checking out the social media, however you can consume the content. Thank you so much. Now, on this episode, before I get into the overview, I want to thank our title sponsor, Scrapin the Coast. Every June, the third week in June, there's a crazy awesome show in Biloxi. And this show, oh, by the way, is in the Mini Truck Hall of Fame. So it's an amazing event. We hope to see you out there for 2025. And again, it's typically that third weekend in the month. We'll have more information to come. But come gallivant with us next year to Biloxi for Scrapin the Coast. This episode overview, I'm going to basically reinforce that. On this episode, I'm going to call my friend and colleague in this scene that we all love, which is the mini truck scene. I'm going to call Craig Braid, also known as CB. And I'm sure he's over there packing some parachutes. I could be wrong. I believe he's going on a road trip here with his wife. They're going to drive a good distance to go and support an event in a different country. This guy doesn't quit, and he's certainly passionate about the scene, and that's why I want to have him on. We're not only going to talk for things he's got going on, we're going to talk about Sittin Pretti. Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, Pacific Northwest, these guys have been holding it down for a long time. And let's not forget, they are celebrating their 35th anniversary. So tip of the cap to them. We're going to also talk about SummerSlam, which is their event that they brought back. And we'll talk about how many of the years of those 35 years have they done a show. And I would certainly ask, and I would challenge you, if you were in this area or you can get there within a day's drive, go support the good people at Sittin Pretti. They're not doing it for profit. You'll hear about that. And I certainly would appreciate if you can't make it for whatever reason. The Ron Perkins, the Jeff from Mini Garage, Karen Moore, so many great people up there. Then send a screenshot to the homies, the chicas, the senoritas, and let them know where they need to be in a few weeks. So we're going to talk to the big homie Craig Braid about that. Now on this episode, listen, I had a crazy, awesome topic, and literally I just got finished recording it all, and I realized there's a lot more to podcasting when you're doing video. There's a little bit more, not a lot, but there is more. And I had accidentally, I guess the past week or week and a half, I had clipped or turned off my microphone. So I just went through what I thought was really cool stuff. And I showed a bunch of stuff, shared my screen, did all kinds of cool stuff, and went to edit it. And I was like, oh, let me re-download it. Oh, yeah, there's no sound in all of it. And, easily the old school 20 years ago ODB would have started maybe getting frustrated. Damn, what am I going to do? The episode's got to be finished. I got to get it out. And, the older, wiser ODB who's learned from his mistakes, realizes that you just take a breath and go, oh, well, what are you going to do? Yo, ODB, you've been telling everyone anyways, you want to slow down with the content. Let's not pack 3 episodes into one episode. I mean, damn, you're killing yourself. You could have had 3 episodes out of 1, right? So my mindset is, hey, roll with the punches. What are you going to do? So This episode, I'm going to go over a few updates, not as in depth. Of course, Miggity Mike the Mayor not here. And I already went through this stuff once, although it didn't record. I'm going to go through it again. So I guess a second time is a charm. And that may leave the opportunity for an episode to drop next Friday, because I got a very cool topic. It ties into an awesome anniversary that I talk about every year around this time. And I think some of you will appreciate the content. Really kind of ties into pop culture, and certainly stoked about that. I will also say that I know some of you are probably thinking, man, dude, we're waiting on some more good interviews. Well, number one, we're going to have Craig Braid on this one, but I did have a few awesome interviews lined up, and I just haven't had a chance to literally link up with those individuals. I've talked to one guy that he's kind of on the fence. He may not want to come on, and I'm trying to kind of work through that. I think he'll be a fantastic guest, and I've got a few others lined up. I just need to sit down and do it. For those that don't know, as I've said early on in this journey, one of the hardest things of podcasting is just linking the two people up, or sometimes now the way podcasting works, right, with video and stuff, you can have 10 people. So that's kind of the hardest part, and I certainly appreciate when people reach out and go, hey, like Tim from NC Florida, he's given me a lot of leads. There's still some, yes, I know, Tim, I've got to follow up on, but just trying to balance everything is a big thing. And, being that we're passing the start-finish line and we're heading into year 10, I sometimes wonder, like, how long will this go? How long will this OLP audio podcast go? And I say, hey, I want to keep the pedal stomped, not going to stop. Certainly that's the mindset, but I don't want to ever start going so-and-so for life, right? Like NWO did, because every time someone, whether it's a truck club or it's a hip-hop crew or it's a wrestling league or whatever, and they start saying for life, I've always seen it crumble shortly after that. So that's my advice to myself. Don't ever say you're going to do something forever, because at the end of the day, you're not, because we're not here forever. And number two, I remember when Suge Knight changed, I think there were some legalities behind it, but it went from Death Row Records to, in the advertising, it went to the new and untouchable Death Row Records, and that certainly wasn't the case, okay? As much as I love some Death Row Records, some hip-hop, some gangsta rap, certainly they were not untouchable. Nobody is untouchable. So, anyways, enough with my ranting and raving. This episode will be shorter, unfortunately, but for the faithful, like the Chad Lukes that come off the top ropes and are itching for a cage match at Eastbound Get Down, believe me, I've got Mike, dude. I'm trying to get him on the phone. I've got ideas, dude. This guy literally is not listening, or he's letting them go in one ear out the ear, dude. I've got so many ideas. I mean, he's just going to have to get the insurance, though. That's the thing. Him and John are going to have to step up, because, dude, if he can just implement some of these ideas, Chad, I mean, you're going to have to get inside his head. Help me, dude. Get inside, Miggity Mike. Let's just first get him on the phone. That's the hard part. So, again, thanks, Craig Braid, for coming on. Sittin Pretti, tip of the cap. I want to give a huge shout out to Hammered Weekend Wear. They have been with us since the beginning, and they recently released 2 new artworks, as they do every 2 months or so. One is a throwback homage to the beginning days of Hammered Weekend Wear, and of course that is their Famous Amongst Friends shirt. They constantly come out with new stuff, so I certainly would ask, if you get a chance, hit up Hammered Weekend Wear, HAMMERD, weekendwear.com. Hit them up and let them know that we sent you. Also, by the way, that family, they also have the Spark Show, which I'll hit upon, but basically it's August 9th, 10th, and 11th in Sevierville, Tennessee. You can see the biggest Buc-ee's in the world for now up in that general area. You could go to an amazing show. I cannot make it this year because I'm going to be at a local kind of cruise-in with our Severed Ties chapter, and I'm going to kind of lay low. But we went last year, and we had such a blast. The cruising aspect is great. The pre-party is great. What Adam and his team do, and Dizzy, of course, and I think Corey Floyd and his family, and all those good, awesome people, what they do is a great thing for that scene up in that region. And really, I would suggest if you're anywhere and you can make it, please go. Next, we got breaking news. And, last time I talked about the new Eminem album, The Death of Slim Shady. And if you look back at all of his albums, especially the fans, they're all kind of listed in acronyms, right? So it's TDoSS, The Death of Slim Shady is the new one. And, it's been about a 4-year hiatus. And I tell you what, you will see so often, a lot of artists don't release albums anymore. Not all. I mean, certainly the big artists do. I saw one time back when I was on Twitter, somebody had commented to MC Hammer, which he just goes by Hammer now, and they're like, man, when are you going to drop a new album? And he goes, I don't think people drop albums too much anymore. I think if I ever drop something, it's going to be a single, And I think an artist like him, you'd come out with a single and you test the waters and see. But it's really cool when you have an artist like Eminem and you have the revenue, the money that's generated behind an album release, whether it be through the merchandise sales, the streaming, of course, potentially if there's ever a tour. Eminem hasn't toured much, but this has been different. This album rollout is different. I know everybody in your life, you go through these kind of trials and tribulations, ups and downs. You got the kids when they're young, then they're graduating, then they got this, they got that. You got all kinds of things going on. And it's cool that where he's at, I think he's 51. He's like it seems like he's in a really good mind state right now, which is great because when you're a fan of something and somebody comes out and they had this massive launch with nothing leaked from the album, they released the track list that week. It came out on streaming platforms at 12:01 a.m. Eastern time on that Friday. Boom. Fans instantly loved it. I mean, it's been streamed. I think it's his biggest release ever on streaming platforms. And you got to remember, he also, I think, is the #1 selling artist from 2000 on. But his sales were insane in the 90s into the 2000s. So he's kind of he hit at the end of the physical media era. And then he was able to easily transition into kind of the streaming area, I guess you could say. Ironically enough, he also executive produced something, I think it's on Peacock. I haven't watched it yet, and it's called When Music Became Free. And I think he's behind that production as well, and I heard that's really good. But The Death of Slim Shady, I have seen the only negative stuff I've seen are literally reviews. And I put this on, I think it was on my personal story one day. On Instagram at BD for Body Dropped 94S10, so BD 94S10. And I'll put stuff on my story, and it's never directed at any one person. It's just things that are on my mind, things I'm listening to. I often think, hopefully people don't read my stuff and go, oh my God, is he talking to me? No, it's what's going on in my crazy head, okay, all the time. But I think I had shared something on there, and it was another artist had basically, and I forget who the artist was now, I'm drawing a blank. They had basically said what a joke it was of this review that one of these media outlets had done. And it was a bigger media outlet. And they did this review, and it was like a scathing review, and it was horrible. And the person even said in the review that I probably have no really business doing this kind of review because I make, I don't know, inspirational music or some weird chimes or I don't know, something that was totally different. And I thought to myself, that's the world we live in because I am like anti-clickbait. I really am. Even when I make my thumbnails for my YouTube videos, like I can make them more clickbait, and I just don't, just because I just can't. I think the craziest I've gotten is with my Lincoln channel. When I first started doing like Bring a Trailer listing reviews, I had a couple like, oh my God, what's this going to sell for type things. And I just can't do it. All these YouTubers do it. And so many people, if you think about it, they make a ton of money just on those thumbnails because they get you to click in. And once you watch, the worst one I ever watched was, I'll talk about it later another day, but it was something to do with Home Alone. And it was totally clickbait because the person they put on the thumbnail wasn't even in the video. They didn't even talk about the person, but they put this picture of a chick with these huge, it just, clickbait. I hate it. But the way these online websites work, and I'm kind of still on the breaking news, so just stick with me. And again, I'm talking a little bit more now about this because I lost everything else, and I can't, I don't have that, so I want this episode to have a little content. But in the clickbait world, these websites, you may or may not know this, they make money on how many clicks go to that website. So if they have an advertiser, and at the end of the day, they're getting paid X amount for this many, this many clicks, this many people that have seen this ad, they really don't care. I mean, sure, they're journalists, so that they do have some things that they have to kind of stay. They're you can't really go out there and like make up a story. I mean, there's websites for that. I think The Onion is one where it's all fake stories. And there's tons of money in that. I mean, there's literally tons of money in fake stories. There's tons of money in all of that. Some of these big podcasters, there's tons of money in it. There's tons of money in hoaxes, believe it or not. If you never went down that bunny trail, the amount of money that people make on a hoax is just mind-blowing. And I think once you realize that people try to warp your mind, that's when, years ago, I kind of was like, dude, I'm anti-clickbait. So I bring it all back because, like, a lot of these reviews, I've seen the headlines and I haven't read any of the reviews on this album. They're just like, it's scathing. Horrible album. Same crap from Eminem, blah, blah, blah. But Snoop Dogg posted this a long time ago, and he said, or he commented, or he posted something, and he kind of made a comment and was like, hey, your success, like once you become an artist, it's all in your fan base. Eminem puts out an album that globally is huge because he has so many fans. And yeah, you can have some critics that can come in and go, man, it's not good. It's this, he's that. And really almost it's part of the album context is, canceling himself and things like that. But it really just doesn't even affect him. And I think that's something you have to learn. Just a little while ago, I'm going to give you an example. C10 Sales on Instagram, they posted a video, which I was going to post right after Camp and Drag. I talked to Bill about this truck, and it's a newer full-size Chevy regular cab on 28s, but it has like an older C10 front end, and it's like totally under construction. Okay. So C10 Sales posted it. I don't think he means obviously any bad. I follow him. He follows me. He's got a cool thing. I've heard him on Ronnie years ago. I think he still does it for free. He posts your truck and all that. But he posted this video, and a lot of social media outlets, they post things, and I saw it. It was from I'm Lower, and I was going to post it, and I was like, nah. Like, I knew that I could get a ton of views out of that video, but I was just like, I'm not going to post it. Nothing against I'm Lower or even C10 Sales. It's just, it was like, you look at C10 Sales and you look at all the comments, and there's just a lot of negative hate. There's a lot of people just talking crap. I'd say 60-70%, not 100%. But the tipping scales are like, it's horrible. There's idiots. Then, you have a couple people that follow us. They're good people. They kind of, you read some of those comments and you kind of want to dive in. You kind of want to go, are you stupid? Do you know what it takes? Like, this thing is under construction, and you realize that those pages, and again, it's no slight against if you have a page that you do this, those pages, they get followers because it's kind of a controversial thing where people are watching that entire video. Then there's tons of comments, and then you kind of get moved up the rungs. I say all that because just like with the death of Slim Shady, Eminem is a polarizing character. So you're going to have these people, I never watched the channels, they're listening. Oh my God, they're listening to the album for the first time. How much money they make on all that crap, I think is dumb, but that's just my opinion. But you just, all these websites that write this stuff, they don't really even want to give it. They just want to be controversial. That's all I'm saying. They just want to go out there. And I often think with one of my I probably have 20 pages. Some of them I don't post to very much. But I always thought, like, if I had one page and I just posted the controversial stuff and I just went down that avenue, I could easily have probably 500,000, 1 million followers. But I don't know. It's just not something I want to do. But I say all that because Eminem, when he puts this album out, only really the critics have been critical of it. The fans have absolutely loved it. They love the rollout of it. There was the cassette. There's the vinyl. There's the CD. There's the special edition that you have to get in. There was the digital that you had to buy twice to get both bonus tracks. Then they released the digital the week of for $7.99. You get like all 19 or 20 tracks, including the 2 bonus tracks and the skit. It was done so well. This whole rollout, there's been these pop-ups. I think one in California, one in London. Complex has been involved. Now on the 27th, there's going to be like this Eminem interview where he's talking to himself, which there's a whole cool article out there about how they did that with the Houdini, or with the Guess Who's Back Again, the Abracadabra. There's a whole company that will take all of your old archive stuff and kind of put it into a database, artificial intelligence wise, and help not just Joe Schmo, but help an artist be able to tap back into their older self. And that's what they kind of did, if you didn't know that, in that Abracadabra remake video, Houdini. It's super cool. So, it's neat. There's been so much stuff. I think there's going to be some more that kind of roll out with this album. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a deluxe edition that has even more. But regardless, if you're an Eminem fan, as you can tell I am, then, I think it's been great. So I love the album. There's a whole thing, Bunny Trail, you can go down to if you listen to the tracks backwards. I have the album on Spotify. There's a playlist where it's The Death of Slim Shady in reverse, and it's like the last track and then so on and so forth. Not including the bonus tracks, of course, because they're not available to stream yet. But it was pretty cool to see Paul Rosenberg, obviously his manager, basic attorney at law, but his manager for years has been by his side. And I think this is one of the best rollouts they've ever done. It's just been all kinds of cool Easter eggs. Eminem made an appearance in London. Oh, by the way, Dre and Snoop performed because they're, of course, on this launch of their gin and juice. They brought Eminem out. I mean, it's just been insane. So from a West Coast fan to, Dre and Snoop to Eminem to just for the culture, it's been amazing. Breaking news brought to you by Lone Star Throwdown. Keep this in mind. I haven't heard from Radar an update yet, but I'll be checking. I do believe that 8/1 date that we're typically accustomed to pre-register for Lone Star Throwdown is going to push out. So just know that I think because of some of the impacts that they had this year, they're going to make some changes. And if you're a vendor, there was an email that was sent out. There's some things that you're going to have to be prepared for next year. You're going to need to get your paperwork in, I think, by that line in the sand in August. But, oh, by the way, there's also going to be like one other key thing that you're going to have to do and provide for next year. And it's all under the umbrella of doing the right thing, trying to keep the show, trying to show the city and some of the jurisdiction there that they're also making a positive impact. So we'll see you out in Conroe towards the end of February 2025. And if I go to LoneStarThrowdown.com, we're 210 days right now away from the show, and we can go to registration. I keep checking it. It is not open. So we will see you out there. I highly suggest, it's definitely a show that you got to hit. And if you haven't been, you are missing out. It is an amazing show. It's February 21st, 22nd, 23rd of 2025. And we're so thankful that our logo is on the flyer. Media coverage by OLP. Thank you, Lonnie, Radar, and team. Okay, the general updates. This one's quick. The Mini Truck Hall of Fame, the official Facebook and Instagram page is now available. Okay, there's an older Facebook page, and Bob was not able to transfer that over and add any admins for whatever reason. I can tell you this. I've been doing this stuff a while. Facebook can be a pain, okay, to get some of this stuff sorted out and to get some of this stuff transferred and stuff. It can be a pain. So Bob was totally fine with us creating a new Mini Truck Hall of Fame Facebook page. We also have, for the first time, an official Instagram. They're both Mini Truck Hall of Fame. If you see two on Facebook, know the one that had about 6,000 to 7,000 followers. Unfortunately, that one is eventually going to go bye-bye. Not because we didn't want to keep it, but certainly we're going to ramp up. We're going to show love to those that are already in. Also, I would say even some of the past members of the committee. But most importantly, we want to also show some love to the folks that have continued for 10 plus years to step up and provide money, assistance to buy these rings. Typically, they are sponsored by someone, maybe a club mate, maybe a company, maybe a friend or family member that forks over several $100s. And what I want you to know is if you have any opportunity to help for next year, not this year, we're good this year. Bob and Radar did a lot of the heavy lifting for that, all of it. But for 2025, there are going to be some opportunities for you to get in. And maybe you can't afford to do a full buy-in, but maybe Mini Truckin Magazine wants to go, hey, we can do a little bit, and they can partner with someone and they can do the other half, and then boom, that's one. We want to make this a collaborative thing between the scene, the committee, the past members, the members that are going to get, or the past inductees rather, and the inductees that are going to get inducted in the future. We want to make it collaborative and make sure that we all know that we're on the same page here. It's not one elite group trying to handle all of this. So there'll be more to come, but just know a lot of hard work goes into it. And I certainly appreciate all the support. We're going to show love to those that have gotten voted in and those in the future that are yet to be voted in. The general updates is brought to you by our kinfolk at Southeast Mini Truckin Nationals. Please, I ask, next year is the 31st anniversary or 31st annual. And we are looking forward to, if you can, please come out to Maggie Valley. Even if you don't get the golden ticket, even if you go, I just want to come experience it. Guarantee you can slap hands, make friends with someone, cruise up and down that strip. You can stand by the strip. You can sit down out there and you can have a fantastic time. I really can't thank Jason Bell and his staff for the amount of effort that they put into it year over year, and we're so thankful for that. So come join us next year in April, Maggie Valley, Southeast Mini Truckin Nats. The trivia with Mike, I got one question for the Mini Truckin Syndicate out there. Are you ready? All right. Biggie to Mike the Mayor's out gallivanting. So this is going to tie into maybe the next episode. What hit song debuted in May of 1990? Excuse me, May of 1991. What was I thinking? So what hit song debuted in the month of May back in good old 1991? Think about this for a second. 1991, 33 years ago. That's further than Marty traveled back in time from 1985 to 1955. He traveled 30 years back. And we're talking about 33 years ago in a couple of months. That is insane. If you guessed, put your car on cruise and lay back because it's summertime. If you're on YouTube, you can see this here. You guessed right. Yes, May 20th of good old 1991. I apologize. I said 1990. I don't know what I was thinking. But good old 1991. I bought this single shortly after it came out. I was not there on release date. I probably bought it the weekend or two after. I didn't get to go to the mall every weekend as a kid, but some of our friends, we did love going to the mall, believe it or not. And this is my single. I have the white. Mine was missing the slip sleeve, and over the years I acquired another one. But this is what cassettes looked like back in the day, folks. And they're making a comeback, and I love it. The Trivia with Mike is brought to you by our kinfolk at Garage Gear Clothing. Visit garagegearclothing.com. They do have options for free shipping. They're also at shows nationwide. They have apparel for females, for the children, and of course the guys. Garagegearclothing.com. Sport trucks, mini trucks, full-size trucks, you name it, they're on their apparel. Garagegearclothing.com. Okay. Next we got the scene updates. I didn't have a lot of these because I had a whole bunch more content that I was covering. And oh, by the way, I've added a little bit of filler here. So hopefully maybe we'll have an episode next week as well. But the scene updates, I want to say everyone that's on the road or in flight to Slamboree, be safe, have a good time. Every year this show comes and goes pretty quick. And I hate to say that it's kind of, it doesn't always fall on my radar. I did get a chance to meet the homie behind the event, and he's a good dude. Many of you have been to the show. Many of you It might be on your bucket list, but if you can, at some point in the future, remember late July, I think it's typically the weekend after Camp and Drag. So this coming weekend is Slamboree, and it's a damn good event. So if you want to go out there and search Facebook, there's a ton of information. Slam, just how it sounds, and then BOREE, Slamboree. Okay, next really on the radar is you have the Spark Show, which is going to be August 9th, 10th, and 11th. Again, Sevierville, Tennessee. Tons to do. You're a stone's throw from Pigeon Forge. There's a lot of good people. Lowest common denominator, or LCD, lowest common denominator podcast will be there. Good people. LMC will be out there as well. So please go out and support the Spark Show if you can. It's a great event. If you're missing out, you're missing out. It's a good event. And then lastly, you heard me talk about the freaking weekend earlier. Please, we, OLP, both Mike and I will be there for sure. I think Shannon's coming as well. That is the 20th through the 22nd of September in Biloxi. We just had Trip on. He talked about it. The freaking, with an IN, weekend.com for more information. They're also on social media. We'll be pushing it hard. We want everybody to come out. It's kind of like a beach party. It's a good old time. It's a good old-fashioned hangout. And I think what's cool, what we talked about with Trip, is when you park, you really don't have to go and drive anywhere else. If you want to have some adult drinks, you want to hang out by the pool, you want to go to the show, walk over to the hotel, it's all right there. So come join us the freaking weekend. All right. The show updates is brought to you, or rather the scene updates is brought to you by our kinfolk at Colorado Custom Wheels. I have Colorado Custom Wheels on a couple of vehicles, and I hope to add it to the mix on another one in the future. Colorado Custom with no S.com. They have wheels, steering wheels, and oh, by the way, I think they still dabble in some other parts, maybe some rear view mirrors. I think I've seen them do. But let Michael and team know that we sent you Colorado Custom on Instagram as well. I think it's the Colorado Custom. They're good people, and they're starting to do some cool promos. This week they did the Cortez wheels. It was a random wheel. If you want it, you can hit them up, and they'll give you a little bit of a good deal on it. So good people, support the real deal, Holyfield. Okay, the podcast updates. This is short. Our website is back up. So oftentimes people ask, hey, I want to show some love to OLP. What can I do? Go out there and buy some merch. We've got stickers, shirts, so on and so forth. And Mike and I are continuing to add new products to the site. We are using a new website this year. It costs more money, but it's giving us more flexibility, and I'm still kind of learning the ins and outs of it. So very soon there will be some skate decks. We do not expect them to last long. If you want to purchase one, maybe you're getting ready for the holidays, the one place that you're going to want to go is ourlifestylepodcast.com. And these skate decks are printed on the skate deck. So it's really cool stuff. And we're super excited to launch these. They're going to go quick. The shipping, I know, is not cheap. We're not like these big retailers where we can afford to do the free shipping. We get the smallest box we can and fit the skate deck in it so that it arrives safe and sound. But if you're looking for a holiday Christmas gift, certainly that's going to be an option for you via ourlifestylepodcast.com. That update is brought to you by our family at Local Rides Mag. Oftentimes people go, hey, man, I wish I missed the magazine days. Well, Mini Truckin's back, but oh, by the way, Local Rides with a Z. That's LOCAL Rides, RIDEZ, magazine.com. So Local Rides with a Z, not an S, magazine.com. Go hit them up. They have magazines, I think, as low as $7 to $9. And they have a bunch of issues, like newer issues, that are around $11. So great people to Bill and team. Thanks for the continued support. You're good people. And I'm going to miss you at the Spark Show this weekend. I think that's it. I'm going to go ahead and call Craig Braid now. Thanks for sticking with me. If you're a longtime listener, I appreciate you. Matt Knupp and some of the other kinfolk that have become members on our YouTube channel, thank you so much. I'm telling you, very soon, I'm going to really focus all my time on YouTube. And I don't know that we'll continue to even offer this via other platforms, just because I'm trying to focus on one place. And what I can tell you is, please go out, subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's going to be a lot more coming there, a lot of history about these magazines and things like that. I'm dabbling with some of the stuff, and I appreciate all the support. But certainly, if you can, become a member out there. I think this only the lowest tier doesn't get access to our videos early. But sometimes these episodes are available early, and certainly going forward, every video is going to be available early, sometimes 2 or 3 days early to members only. So become a YouTube member. It's a few bucks a month. That money will be reinvested into the cause. I can promise you that. We won't be buying lotto tickets with that. That's what Mike's for, right? Thank you so much for the support. Stay on the rise and enjoy this audio with Craig Braid, a.k.a. CB Cooper, maybe, allegedly. He's packing his parachute. ODB, we got you. Peace. Yo, I'm so excited to sit down with my brother from the Pacific Northwest, Craig Braid. CB, what's going down?
Hey, Jason.
Dude, I want to give a shout out. Now, unfortunately, can't really see it. I got my Grinder TV shirt on. Can't stand up and flip around quick enough, but it's the Mini Truckers Never Say Die, which ties into the Goonies. Jeff got me the hat. So I had to represent for the Pacific Northwest.
Nice.
So let me ask you this, dude, before we get into the business, how you been?
I've been good. Just busy with show prep and work and life.
No doubt about it. Your wife, your awesome wife, I know she's been excited because you've been working on her truck. I believe I see it behind you, and that's super cool because I know you've got a lot in your head on what you guys want to do to it.
Yeah, it's a working project.
Oh, yeah. Now, before we talk about SummerSlam, you continue to remind me and say, yo, Jay, don't forget Sittin Pretti, the club that you're in, that you're representing. You guys have been in the game 35 years. I think this is your 35th anniversary, right?
Yep, 35 years, established 1989.
Yeah, 89. What a great year. I know there's some active members, there's some long-term members. A lot of you guys up there have different careers and things like that. It's always cool to see, and I would suggest to people you can find their Instagram, just type SITTIN, PRETTI, Sittin Pretti, a little bit different spelling there, which is super cool. But if people go out there and check out what you guys are doing, you're hitting a lot of shows, as many as you can, but you're also, did I see you recently patched in a new member?
Yeah, we did. Justin with a GMC Sierra.
Yeah, a newer full-size, man. That thing is nice. Any idea who did the work on it?
Switchman down in Auburn.
Excellent. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Not to be confused with Switch Suspension. I see you're representing the awesome Switch Suspension shirt there.
Yeah, Switch Suspension out of Phoenix. They've came through as a great sponsor of ours for the show this year with
excellent
product.
Yeah, I know you guys have some lineage, some tie-ins there, and they're great people. We see them at Lone Star every year, and I just want to give a quick promo, everyone, for Lone Star Throwdown 2025. I do believe, my understanding, the registration is going to be a little bit different. It typically opens on August 1st, but I think Lonnie and Radar and Jared are working through that, so more to come. But let's talk a little bit about Sittin Pretti. I know you guys are about, at the time of this recording, about 1 month away. And I know that sounds a little scary for any show promoter because you're like, wow, I got all this stuff going on. All this big to do. Talk to us a little bit about the date, the location, some of maybe the key overarching stuff you want to share with us.
Yeah, it's August 24th. And a town called Carnation, Washington, Renlinger Farms, a venue that is about 150, 180 acres. And they're putting us in a field further back that has nice grass and shade and covered area.
Excellent. I'm going to share the screen now. And when you look at some of these photos, like, for instance, you mentioned the date there and the location. Talk to us about what the folks are seeing on the screen if they're watching via YouTube.
The field there on the right, where our cars were at last year, that was a different field. We're going to be further. We're going to basically be behind that field, about a quarter of a mile back past those trees, and has nice grass and nice shade. And then there'll be shuttle buses are actually shuttle wagons taking people from that field to the restaurant venue.
Excellent. You can see the logo up here for the club, Sittin with an IN, Pretti, Pretti, as I mentioned. And something that I thought was pretty cool from seeing the show coverage, of course, our family was out there, Matt, Pigrig, and so many others. But seeing the photos and stuff, you kind of had a very good mix. And I know that's something that you guys are really shooting for. Sure, the lifeblood of this show and the fact that you guys brought it back last year, which we talked about, is of course mini trucks. But I think we all have come to realize that the car scene, it runs deep. There's a lot of different kind of subcultures of it as well. So it'll be interesting to me to see maybe if you guys are able to wrangle in some other folks. What are you most excited about, Craig, as you guys get close to that August 24th date?
Just to bring everybody out. Looking forward to friends from Canada coming down again, and the mixed variety, and just everybody getting together for a good afternoon.
Yeah, I love it. Now, if you go, as I mentioned on Instagram, which again, if you're watching via YouTube, you can see here on the screen, Sittin with an IN, Pretti, SummerSlam, all with the underscore between each of those words. You can even tap the link right there in their bio to be taken over to sittinprettisummerslam.com. Again, you can see there the location and different things. One thing that I noticed is last year that you guys, brought out one of my favorite trucks, that yellow Mazda. You and I have talked extensively about the history of it, and it being like one of those kind of game changer trucks up in the Pacific Northwest. How cool of a feeling was it last year to bring out some of those trucks that maybe people haven't seen in a while?
Oh, it was great. There are several trucks that had not been out to a show in 10 years since our last Sittin Pretti SummerSlam when it was held up in Arlington. And then Danny's Mazda, that was our artwork last year. Just game changer in the Northwest. First body drop Mazda, probably first body drop truck period in Washington.
Yeah, and the reason why I wanted people to see that and kind of know that is, keep me honest, you teamed up with Graphic Disorder, and they
Yep.
knocked it out of the park last year. You guys had a lot of success with that show artwork. But just to be clear, if the folks are watching us now, the 2024 artwork, talk to us a little bit about what they're seeing here.
Okay, we got a Nissan Hardbody. That is Matt Zinkel in our club. He's been in the club for quite a while. And then that's his also diesel GMC behind it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you got the lineage back to the club. And of course, anybody that knows the member that you're talking about, he loves some old school BMX and freestyle bikes, doesn't he?
Yeah, and there's a couple pictures somewhere on the website of a handful of his BMX bikes. Probably has 25 plus bikes.
Yep. Very, very cool. Now, something that you did last year, when you look at, some of the things here on sittinprettisummerslam.com, when you think about what you've seen in the show scene industry with these different companies offering different pieces of merchandise, talk to us about some of the things that they're going to be able to buy this year at the event exclusively.
All right, yeah, and we teamed up with Graphic Disorder for our T-shirts, the artwork, the T-shirts, and banners. We're offering some hoodies this year and skate decks. But yeah, real happy working with Graphic Disorder. The T-shirts are in print as we speak.
Yeah, fantastic. And something that you've also done, talk to us a little bit about the fact that if they go to the website, can they still pre-register? Are you taking cash and things like that day of? Talk to us a little bit about that, because that's a big thing. As you know, if folks are listening and they're on the edge about going, they're going to want to know if they can get in, Craig.
Yeah. Currently, the website's still open to register if you want to register before you get there, or the day of, people can register with cash. This year we got a credit card swiper and then QR code that they can scan and pay via those options.
Oh, yeah. And I know for a long time, right, technology's continued to change, and so often there were shows that, were never taking any kind of other payment other than cash. And I love to hear a show like Sittin Pretti SummerSlam that says, hey, we want to offer some flexibility, right?
Yeah.
Now, keep me honest, do you guys, whether you are nonprofit or not, you guys are really kind of just in this, as you stated last year, bringing back Sittin Pretti SummerSlam, which was a show that went on for a long time, and you can maybe speak to that. But you guys aren't really in it to make a ton of profit. You're just in it to kind of contribute to the scene, right?
Yeah, just want to break even every year. That's the main goal: break even and keep putting on a great show.
Yep.
And so yeah, this will be our 22nd show out of the 35 years.
Yep. So you think back, this being the 35th, and you go, wow, for 22 of those, it almost sounds like how many times Tom Brady made it to the Super Bowl in his career, even though I'm not a Tom Brady fan, but you know what I mean? But if you think about 22 of those 35 years, that's a lot of time and effort put in. And, you and I have always had great conversations leading up to kind of the return last year in 2023. But you kind of said to me, yo, Jay, I want to make this happen. I want to do something. There's a few shows up here in the Pacific Northwest, a couple we've seen come and go, unfortunately, like The Awakening. We know that New Choice, they're working on something, and they're still, I think, kind of in flux and making all that happen.
Yep.
But to me, it was really cool to hear Sittin Pretti go, yo, we want to put the flag back in the ground, and we want to contribute to the scene that we love.
Yep.
Now, when you think about some of the other things that came up last year, and you think about a show and you're running around crazy and, you got your walkie-talkies or however you guys are communicating, what are a few things that you might want to mention now, Craig, that someone that might listen and go, oh, wow, okay, I don't have to ask them. Spectator costs, things like that.
Okay, registration's $40, and show up between 7 and 9 a.m. is rolling.
Okay.
However, if someone's bringing something on a trailer that might not be able to drive under its own power, we would prefer them to come earlier before the field comes in, and then can drive that truck and trailer into the show field and not have to push it.
Absolutely.
T-shirts, we got T-shirts $25, hoodies $40, some banners, and a small limited number of skate decks.
Excellent. Now, you have had, I think, like many shows, right? Most shows don't rely upon one person for their awards because they might have a specialty award. Maybe they're going to have their top 50 or however that's going to work based upon your region and kind of what your scope is going to be, right, for the show. Talk to us about a couple of the folks that you partnered with this year, Craig, to make the awards happen.
Okay, we're doing top 40, and Doug with Creative House, and he's working on our top 40, and then Welch's Chop Shop, our best of. We got about 25 of those: best interior paint, club participation, best engine, stuff like that. About 20 of those, longest distance. So those are our main partners as far as awards go. Welch's Chop Shop, and been great to work with, and we received his trophies yesterday.
Excellent. And Doug, I think it may have clipped out there. Doug at Creative House, many of you know Doug, and I think the spelling's like KR. There's like an 8 in there. It's like kind of a little bit different spelling, but certainly, we have used Welch's Chop Shop typically for our best of OLP awards year over year. And of course, I can say Doug does a fantastic job as well. And then you worked back with Joey, I believe, right? Keep me honest, on the skate decks, which has kind of been a norm for so many show goers. I would imagine people really love those skate decks, right? Because it's a very affordable cost, but then they can also display that awesome graphic disorder artwork.
Yep. Yeah.
That's good stuff. Now, I did want to ask you a few other items, but before we move on to any other topics, when you think about Sittin Pretti SummerSlam 2024, which is about a month away, is there anything else you would want to share or anything else you would want to reinforce to the listeners or the viewers?
Just come out, buy our merchandise, make sure we sell out of it. And I want to really thank our sponsors. Without them, Horn Blasters, our local tire shop, Les Schwab Tires. They've been great. Switch Suspension for helping us with a lot of raffle items. But the venue has been very great to work with. Remlinger Farms. We got Precision Spray and Liners. They've been good to work with. And I just hope people come out and buy raffle tickets and merch.
Yeah, fantastic. And you can go to their website and see under 2024 sponsors. There's a good amount of folks there. And we often talk about this. I know Mike and I do. In each region of the country, there's different dynamics. Justin Wyatt would talk about this as well when, they've had great conversations on LCD podcasts in the past. Every region's a little bit different, but to me, $40, a very affordable registration fee, if you will, to get in. But then you add the layer on top of that of free spectators. Let's say you're going to go out, you're going to bring your hot rod or your mini truck, and you're going to come to the show, and your friends and family are going to come along. If you've got 2 or 3 or 4 people, you got a couple kids, that typically is at least going to be 10, 15, $25 a piece at any other event for you guys to have this beautiful venue and go, hey, there's no spectator fees. I think that really says a lot for you guys trying to give back in the scene.
Yep. Yeah, and that the restaurant gets kind of busy. So if someone wants to bring a sandwich, they're welcome to bring a lunch. And then the venue also has amusement park for kids and petting zoo, and there's a lot going on at a brewery. There's a lot going on at that venue for additional fee for the amusement park. But our show, the spectators are free.
Yeah, fantastic. And it's a beautiful area. Again, the photos that I saw last year, it's an awesome event. Being that it was the first year, kind of the return in 2023, I would ask all, so we know so many of you recently went to Ron Perkins' show, The Rat Rock, I believe is how it was marketed. So many of you there. But listen, if you happen to listen to this, I know the Jeffs at Mini Garages, Billy Bob, I know he's got some, he's not that far probably from there. Even if some of you guys can't make it, spread the word. This is a great thing for that region. I often tell Craig, there's so many cool trucks up there. I mean, you guys really arguably, and when I talked to Devin that had Mosbury Delight, of course, at Mini Nats this year, we talked about the rich history of Mazdas up there, but it's not just Mazdas. There's a lot of Mazdas, but there's so many cool trucks. And, Craig, so many times I want the listeners to know this, that we hear this, man, I miss the good old days. Or you'll see an old video from the 80s or 90s and go, man, I wish it was like that. Listen, I know we have careers, significant others, kids and all that, but this is your opportunity to get out there, man. That's why I'm wearing the Goonies hat or the Goonies shirt. Goonies never say die. It's like mini truckers, like Brian said on this shirt, mini truckers never say die. Get out there, have fun. You only live once. It's free to spectate. Go buy a shirt, show some love, right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I know, is Tanner going to try to drive up from Switch Suspension?
Yeah, Tanner plans on coming up, last I heard. And yeah, Tanner works at Switch, and he's helped us with our raffle prizes. Great guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Shout out to Tanner. He supposedly is somehow related to Hank Norris, but we're waiting on the DNA test. You know what I mean? Because,
right.
Like, I swear I saw Tanner. It was on, what's that show? The First 48, or maybe it was 48 Hours. It looked just like him, but maybe it was Hank. I swear there's maybe a little connection. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, before I let you go, I wanted to talk to you about this. Your wife's truck. I know you've been hustling on it, but before we get to that, your red Toyota, man, a few years ago, you and your son drive across the country to Mini Nats. A couple years back, you and I were on the phone when I was going up to, was I going to Mini Nats that one year? And it was 2 years ago. And then you went to another show. Were you going to Rolling in the Red Rocks?
Probably, yeah, Rolling the Red Rocks. I went there a couple years ago.
Yeah, you went there a couple years ago. You went to Havasu, and you did like the boat type deal. And you're constantly traveling. You've been in your job a long time, and you've earned the time off, and you go do a lot of things that support the scene. When you and your son had the opportunity to go across the country, you brought your red Toyota. I think it's a 79, right?
Yep.
79. How cool was it to spend the time, and how cool, I know it's a little couple years old in terms of your memory, But man, you must have had a blast at Mini Nats, dude.
Yeah, that was a great time. Just my son and I bonding for 2 weeks. We took a week to get there and enjoyed Maggie Valley for about 4 days, 5 days, and then we drove across the country, back home, trying to hit national parks and see the scenery together, before he got busy with his own life.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I want people to hear that because so often, again, we talk about making those memories, and we may not all have as much time off and things like that. But whether you fly to a show or go to a show locally, or in the case of Craig, driving across the country, so many other guys have done it from over there as well, which I think is super cool. So I think that's awesome. I also wanted to mention that you constantly are thinking ahead and thinking about the next project. And I know you've been hustling on the wife's truck. How good does it feel that she kind of wants to get, and get out there and have some fun?
Oh yeah, she enjoys going to some of the shows with me, and like we're leaving tomorrow morning for Canada for another show.
There you go. And the gentleman, talk to us a little bit about that show for people that don't know where you're going to be headed.
We're headed up to Edmonton. It's about 14, 15 hours from here. Candy shop, JD, he puts on with Dropsicles, and they've came down to our show, and we want to return the love and go up to Edmonton and check out that area and visit them and their show. They've been around a long time, and that's a beautiful area going through like Banff National Park. We'll head through there, and Calgary, and up north for several days. It'll take us 2 days to get there.
And you guys are going to walk, right, the whole way?
Oh, yeah.
Just kidding. 14 hours. I'm like, that's a long drive. But yeah, Candy Shop is on Instagram, and there's so many good people up in Canada. And it's very cool that some of you are in that unique position where you can gallivant across the border and, go up there, and then they can come south when they have a chance, and they can check out shows too. So very, very cool, Craig.
Yeah, thank you.
What are you most looking forward to the rest of the year? I mean, we're kind of like halfway through the year. Obviously, you have a lot on your mind now, coming up now in the next 4 weeks. Anything else in the works that you guys have going down, or at least in your mind?
No, just we got 4 weeks, and we're booked this weekend going to Canada for that show, and then we got a week break, and then gonna hit the Perfect Poise Northwest Cruise is beginning of August, second week of August. That's always a fun show to hit. That's about 45 minutes from here, so that's a nice local show for us. And then a week to finish stuff up before SummerSlam.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned that because each year I want to try to show some love for those guys that do the cruise, the Northwest Cruise to the Pines.
Yep.
So I got to make sure that we really hit that. That's another free event, and when you think about how much is going on, depending on where you live, you can get out to at least one show. Some people, it's easier to get to an out of state show. Some people have to drive like we do 3.5 hours to get out of the state. But certainly if you plan it right, maybe make a 3-day weekend of stuff, you can get out there like with SummerSlam and you can have a good time. Speaking of that, I did want to also mention that with Mini Nats coming up for 2025, that's going to be the 31st annual. We partner with Jason Bell and team, and we just love this show. And I would remind people that as we get closer to the pre-registration opening, he's going to continue that the process that he has where they kind of go through and things like that and vet everyone. But Craig, it's crazy to hear already the Arizona, California, the Washington, already the folks that are saying, hey, we're coming next year, and hopefully they're going to caravan across and have a good time,
Yeah. There's a few more shows I got to hit on my bucket list, but years down the road.
Oh, yeah. Above your left shoulder is our mini Truckin. It's in our DNA, one of our previous artworks that we did. We showed some love to the Pacific Northwest, of course, as you know, with Karen. Of course, that truck's got a long history as well. Hopefully we'll see Karen out there. I know she's had kind of a lot going on. We might have to put her in a headlock, though, and wrestle her to the ground and get her up there. You know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah, because if there's any one female that's a hardcore mini trucker, it's going to be hard to beat her, man. She's hardcore.
Yeah. Yeah, and with it, she has that Toyota. It's beautiful Toyota.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I want to give you a huge shout out. I know we said thank you many times, but this year at Mini Nats there was a little mix up with our room for that one night, and it was no big
Oh,
deal. And you said, "Yo, no problem, come stay with us," and we had such a good time. Now Mike and I do have a hard time, of course, with Shannon had to get us out. You know, we felt like we were driving for like 2 hours up a mountain. We're not good with that because we're from the flatland area, but you definitely pulled us from having. We were gonna maybe sleep on the sidewalk and just see how it went. You know?
yeah. Yeah, might as well try that sometime.
Yep, yep. Give a shout out to maybe, I know you probably can't think of everybody in Sittin Pretti, but maybe a few shout outs. I know some of your close friends and things like that. But give them a shout out, man. Any of the members that are maybe helping or stepping up, or maybe they just said, "Hey, Craig, it's all, you wanted to do this, brother. It's all on you."
Yeah, there's some of that. We have a new member, Justin. He has a beautiful GMC, kind of burgundies that switch suspension worked on. Chris Buchanan has his Silverado Cat Eye. Matt with his hard body on the artwork. Danny has the Mazda. We got Steven, who I actually bought the red Toyota from. And yeah, we're a small club, but we're making things happen.
Yeah, I love hearing it. And Chris Buchanan, good dude. Again, shout out to him. You know, he accommodated as well. And then I think I would get Chris mixed up. When I came, was Chris the one that had the motorhome the one year that I came up to the Awakening?
No, that's Scott in Perfect Poise.
That's right. I get them mixed up. And I remember seeing there was someone who had the silver Mazda with the chrome around the fender wells. Was that also Scott? Remember there was, that was behind the motorhome, I think.
Yeah, that's Scott.
You guys got too many nice Mazdas up there, man. Just send them down here in Florida. Because
Yeah,
we want to make sure that we have enough Mazdas that Mike never wins a trophy again.
right.
Right. Listen, Craig, it's always good following up and just touching base. For anybody that's listening, Craig Braid, good dude. You can also follow Craig Braid, BRAID. Might be connected to CB Cooper, but we're still trying to kind of figure that out. We're working on a special on that. But you can follow him on Instagram, some of his trials and tribulations out there in the mini truck scene. Love seeing the Red 79 always cruising, brother, and give everyone our best. I wish I could make it this year. I am going to try to shoot to make it up for next year. Of course, I'd be flying, but it would be a lot of fun, and I'd love to slap hands again with everybody up in the Pacific Northwest. So, rile up the troops. And if you're listening to this, please share it. Take a screenshot, whatever you got to do, send it to the homies, the club mates, and say, yo, let's go out and support Sittin Pretti with their SummerSlam event. Anything else?
No, thank you. Yeah. Gotta go out and support the shows, or they won't happen.
That's it. And remember, like I said, even if you go out there and you go, man, I didn't support anything, I went as a spectator. Go buy a shirt. There's no better feeling than when the event, orders X amount of shirts that they have to pay for, and then they're able to sell those out. And we've seen different events throughout the country, like Dino's Get Down, that are kind of changing the game. And, you have these events where there's not a spectator fee, or there's not even, in some examples, there's not even a fee for the vehicle. But at the end of the day, whether it's a for-profit show or in this example, just trying to break even, certainly no one's trying to pad their pockets. They're getting out there. They're supporting the scene. They're putting another show out for everybody to go out and enjoy. It's a one-day event, so it's not like you have to be there for 2 days. Go out there and support it. Again, SummerSlam. You can find them on Instagram and let them know that OLP sent you.
Thank you.
Craig, give everyone our best, brother, and stay on the rise, and make sure you pack those parachutes good, man.
Yeah, thank you.
We got you.